Hi guys, so just before I start the pickups, I just thought I'd tack this onto the start, and that is the winner of my giveaway, which was a PlayStation Classic Mini thingy and a load of other stuff. Maybe you saw the video, maybe you didn't. Had loads of entries, entries on email, WhatsApp, loads of comments on the videos. We had some VRs, so video responses. So VRs we had from Calvin TGApuleius, who did a PlayStation sort of Christmas memory from childhood. We had Taff Aiden, who made his first video in years, so it's great to see Aiden back with this video response. And that was a really heartfelt memory of playing Castle of Illusion with his dad. And then we had Kieran Retro Reclaimer, another person who's made a comeback, hasn't been on YouTube for ages, and really great to see, but that kind of spurred him into getting back into it. So since doing that response to my question, he's done loads of other videos and he seems to be getting back in the swing of things. And he did a Knights of the Old Republic memory. So I'll leave a link to those three guys who did video responses in the description. And actually Luke BASSINVADER did a video response but via WhatsApp just to me, and that was like a Castlevania memory. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description as well, although he doesn't really make videos anymore. But the other three guys, definitely go and check them out, especially Kieran and Aiden, who kind of getting back in the swing of doing videos. So yeah, like I said, we had some video responses, we had a load of comments and stuff. We had one hilarious comment I'm going to read here that says, "I really need this for my sister's birthday. It would mean the world to me if you pick me. I would like the PS4, please." So that person clearly didn't read the rules of the competition, and there is no PS4, so God knows what they were thinking there. That's hilarious. But anyway, the winner I've chosen is this comment on my video, and it's from Get to the Chopper, who have a podcast and have a YouTube channel, so I'll leave a link to their YouTube channel as well. Go and check it out. So this is the comment, this is the memory, and if you guys don't know, the competition was just share any memory or any story to do with gaming. So it was just any story, any memory. It could have been heartfelt, could have been funny, whatever, I didn't care. But I really like this story, so this is the one I picked. So my story is, when I was younger, I wanted a C64 and begged my mum for one for Christmas. Christmas time came and she proudly brought out my present. She watched me open it with a big smile on my face. I opened it and it wasn't a C64, it was a ZX Spectrum Plus 2. I wanted to cry, but my mum looked so happy and she told me I could set it up and play it straight away. I gave my mum the biggest hug and thanked her for the present, and she watched me set it up and load my games. From that moment I became a die-hard ZX Spectrum fan. It was the loading sound, the screen filling up into a picture, the game starting up. To this day I've never told my mum she got me the wrong present, but in a way she got me the perfect present, and to this day the Specky will always be my favourite of any computer or console. And I just love that story. It's such a nice story, A, because you were nice enough not to just kind of correct your mum that she got you the wrong present, and could see that she was really happy that she got you something, but that wrong present kind of evolved into being the perfect present, and the Spectrum is like a cherished system to you to this day. And I just loved that story. I thought it was really nice. Kind of a bad situation turned into a happy ending. So congratulations. I have already messaged you and I have your address, so all that stuff is on its way to you. So I'll leave you there, guys, and give you back to myself for the pickups. Hi guys, so back with another pickup. So a few bits and bobs, mostly retro stuff, a few big box games and a couple of modern bits, just random stuff from the last couple of months. To clear out the way so I can tidy this room a bit, which is my normal excuse for doing these. So firstly is a couple of Xenon 2 discs for the Amiga, and I recently got a big box copy of this, but sadly it only had disc 1, it was missing disc 2. But I was at Sinisteve's the other day, your friend of mine, Sinisteve, absolute legend, sorted me out a couple of spare discs he had, so cheers again for that, Steve. So that completes my my Amiga copy of Xenon 2. And if we kind of stick on the Amiga topic, I was looking for a copy of this, and that is the Canon Soccer demo for the Amiga. Now this came out back in the day, and it was like a Christmas little demo disc, and from Sensible Software, and it blends two of their most popular games arguably, and that is Sensible Soccer and Cannon Fodder, hence the name Cannon Soccer. And you can see on the front there is kind of a little bit of the level, and it's like you're controlling the Cannon Fodder guys and you going over a football pitch, and there's little things saying Merry Christmas and all that jazz on there. But anyway, I was after one of those, and on eBay they're about £3 each, but I managed to get the whole lot there for about £3 plus shipping, so I was chuffed with that. And there's some other cool ones there, like Uridium 2, another green disc, demo of Syndicate, one of my all-time favourite Amiga games, and there's probably, I mean, just under half is probably like spreadsheet apps and, you know, utilities, but a good chunk of those are demos, so I was chuffed to get that. I got some retro books, so the brother and sister-in-law got me this Retro Tech, which is from Nostalgia Nerd Peter, and yeah, you may or may not know his channel, but it's just all sorts of stuff on old retro tech, obviously, hence the name, and it's, yeah, it just goes through the games and computers and stuff. Cool little book, so I was chuffed to get that. Another book I got was the Sega Dreamcast Collected Works by Read Only Memory, and this is something I backed on Kickstarter a long while back, and it's just come out, and I've got a little Shenmue bookmark there, which was just a little bonus for backing it. But it's just it goes through, like, you've got all artwork there you go, Jet Set Radio, and it's got a bit about the making of Shenmue, and it's got see if I can find some, it's got like the technical drawings for the hardware and stuff, yeah, some like concept designs for the original design for the Dreamcast, all sorts of stuff in there. It's just, you know, a cool book for any Dreamcast fan, but if I remember I'll leave a link to where you can get these books anyway in the description. One little random game which just came, which was Chimney Hunt on the Vectrex. It's a new Vectrex game, a really cool little case. Now these are really limited in number, made by a guy called James Watt, who many of you may know, who makes the UV frames for the Vectrex. But yeah, this was available in, I think, transparent red, orange, and these clear carts, and then normal black carts. So you kind of just put your order in and hope that you know, you get something other than black. Although I would have been happy with black, but chuffed to get this clear cart. It looks really cool, and it's a Christmas themed game, and it's quite simple. You're just basically going down these it's like a sort of twisting squares that emulate a chimney, and you have to collect presents and what have you, and you basically Santa. It's quite a simple game, but it's quite enjoyable, and it's a cool little thing to have. Random pickup, I got the Gaming Muso's album. Now, if you're not aware of James, the Gaming Muso, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. He does guitar covers of loads of old classic soundtracks. So on here we've got stuff like Outrun, Double Dragon, Super Hang-On, Sonic 2, Snatcher, Road Avenger, which I believe is the only sort of version that's available of Road Avenger. They never released the original. But yeah, really cool stuff from James there. I saw him do some of this music live in Play Blackpool, which was absolutely fantastic, so I had to get the album. I've got a Mega Drive game, and that is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker Japanese version. I've been after this game for ages. It's just one of those games that I've just haven't had in my collection, and I don't know why. You know, one of those games that you just spend years thinking, oh, I need to pick that up, but I finally bought it. Sadly, it's got no manual, but that came from Griffo, who many of you know, and it was on Facebook, and it was a reasonable price. So even though it doesn't have a manual, I'm happy to get that and maybe upgrade it in the future if I can find a manual, but I'm not that bothered. I just want to play it, really. If you have or haven't played this version, it's different from the arcade version, which is kind of more isometric, but this is like a side-scrolling, it's like a side-scrolling beat-em-up, I suppose, but you're doing kind of fancy moves when you rescue the kids. Yeah, you have to beat up guys and rescue kids hilariously. And when you rescue the kids, they're like, Michael, which is very, very funny, but it's a very good game and obviously great music. So chuffed to get that. Then we got some big box stuff. So we've got 3 Amiga games, but firstly I'll show you a big box DOS game that I've been after for ages, and that is Descent. So apologies for the glare, there's going to be some glare on the box there. But this is actually sealed, not because I collect sealed stuff, but I was after a minty copy of this, and this one popped up, and it ended up being about the same price I would have paid for like a nice condition one. It just happens to be sealed, so chuffed to get that. Now, if you haven't played Descent, it's kind of like a Doom clone, so it plays like a first-person shooter, but you're in a ship. So whereas, for example, Dark Forces built on the Doom idea by allowing you to look up and down, in Descent you can rotate 360 degrees because you're like you're a ship, and so gravity doesn't apply, so you can fly in any direction, and you're going through these tunnels. I believe it's tunnels on, it's like Pluto or something, you're on Pluto maybe, and you're flying through these tunnels, and yeah, it's just a great game, really one of my favourites from childhood on my PC. So I was chuffed to get that, and just kind of going through, as many of you know, getting the DOS and Amiga games that I had as a kid, and that is one that I always loved, Descent. So we've got 3 Amiga big box games, but they're the smaller boxes. So first one is Chase HQ. So these are, you know, if I compare it with the Descent, it's quite a bit smaller. So picked up a fair few of these recently on recent pickups, like the Xenon 2 that I mentioned earlier, and Paradroid, and some other ones that are in these small boxes. But yeah, Chase HQ, it's not a patch on the arcade, but it's a very enjoyable port, and I did love it when I was a kid. I loved the whole Chase HQ kind of idea. You're chasing bad guys, and it's like Outrun, but you're chasing down bad guys, really, isn't it? So it was a really cool, like, Taito arcade game. But yeah, published by Ocean, and it's got a little pic of the arcade cab on there. But yeah, it was chuffed to get that. That sadly has no manual, but I've been looking at a few, and that one popped up on eBay very, very cheaply, so I was happy to just nail that down. This one has been a bit of a dog to find, and it's probably not quite in the condition I'd like, but it is very good. And that's It Came From the Desert for the Amiga. Now this is by Cinemaware, and they were very famous for creating these cinematic games, and this one is based on kind of 1950s B-movie horrors, I suppose, and actually one in particular, I believe it's based on, I think it was called Them, which is, as you can see, there's like a giant ant there, and this game revolves around giant ants sort of invading and attacking a town, and Them was based on giant ants, so it kind of plays on that, and you can see the, you know, cheesy B-movie style woman there, and it says hilarious things like, you know, hear teenage girls squeal and see decent Americans terrorized. But it's just one, you know, it's a weird game. Some of the game you play as like an adventure game where you're going around the town and you're talking to people, and some of the game is like a top-down shooter, and some of it's a first-person shooter where you're like static and you can move your hand with a gun and shoot the ants and stuff. But it was just at a time back when I had an Amiga where I was starting to realise that video games could be these cinematic experiences, and they could be, you know, they could tell a story very well. And I think the Amiga was the first time I really encountered games transitioning to telling full-blown stories than just being a quick pick up and play or arcade ports and stuff. So always has very good memories, that game. And then the last Amiga game is one that I absolutely loved as a kid, one of my absolute favourites, and that is Rick Dangerous. Another small box one there, but yeah, I mean, really cool artwork. It's very Indiana Jones. It's obviously based on Indiana Jones. So in Rick Dangerous you go through little platforming screens, and it's one screen at a time, and you can shoot enemies or you can blow them up with dynamite, and both are limited. But the main thing is there's like traps all throughout the level, so there'll be like spikes popping up or stuff falling on you, or, you know, you'll get squashed, all these kind of traps that you'd expect from a rip-off of Indiana Jones. But the tricky thing is, because it's a screen at a time, So let's say you were in one screen and you dropped down into the next screen, you might land on some spikes because you didn't know to move to the left or right or do a certain thing. So it kind of becomes a memory game of learning, okay, when I go to this screen I need to do this, and so I don't get caught in a trap. And some of the traps, like, you know, they just get you if you're just walking along. They'll get you if you don't know they're there in advance, then you're done. And I think it led a lot of people to believe that, oh, that's a very it's a very unfair game. But I think if you treat it as kind of the memory thing and you're learning the game, then it's not too bad. One thing I should say, I forgot to say about Rick Dangerous, is this came from Sinisteve. So this was on Facebook. I think the other two Amiga games I've shown here are eBay purchases. So this one, yeah, it popped up on Facebook and I just missed it, and Steve grabbed a little bundle of games, but I think this one was a double for him, and he sold it to me for an absolutely fantastic price. And I've been looking for this one for ages, and it's a struggle to find at a good price. So thanks again to Sinisteve for hooking me up, always treating me well. So yeah, this is probably the most exciting thing out of the recent pickups for me, and it is one of these IMP sticks, and that stands for, what is it? Intelligent Mega Power. Now this stick is very special. I mean, it's a nice stick, micro switched, and it's just really nicely made. Looks cool as well, looks very Mega Drive. But there's two reasons that I'm excited to have this. One is it works on the Mega Drive, and it's nice to have a decent stick for the Mega Drive. It is hard to get a decent arcade stick for the Mega Drive. But the really exciting thing is it also works on PC Engine, and it is nigh on impossible to get a decent stick for the PC Engine. And this comes with a cable that does both the PC Engine and the Mega Drive. And this came from Gruss Newton. I've been trying to get one of these off him for years, because I know he had two, and I've just been saying for years, if you ever get rid of them, I definitely want one. And then finally he's getting rid of one, so I bought it off him. So cheers for that, Russ. So yeah, I mean, really nice stick, really chuffed to get that. So that's it for retro stuff. So now just a couple of modern bits. So we got a couple of PS4 bits. So I got God of War, that's still sealed. In fact, I bought both these two games to play over Christmas and just ended up playing Switch and other stuff and never played them. But God of War I got fairly cheap. I know I'm very late to the party, but that's how I roll with modern stuff. I'll just get it when it's cheap later on. I think that was about 15 quid, and this one was about 12 quid, Street Fighter 5 arcade edition, excuse me. Now this one was, you know, I wanted to buy Street Fighter 5, but when it came out it was not a finished game. You had to, you know, do this, that and the other. You had to download stuff, you had to buy extra content. I'm not about that, so I was happy to get the arcade edition, which is kind of a more complete edition. And then I got two Switch games. Now Wargroove I got, and that's a physical edition that came out very recently, and I really wanted to buy this digitally just to play, but I held out for ages just thinking it's gonna come out physical, just hold on. And it came out, it was only about 25 quid new, and this is kind of like Advance Wars, so it's like a spiritual successor to Advance Wars, if you don't know. I do prefer Advance Wars, but never mind. But it comes with like a little map, a digital soundtrack and some stickers. But the cool thing it comes with, I mean, it's nice to see all this stuff in, you know, get a bit of gubbins in a game these days. But it comes with this little thing which has like, it's called a strategy manual, and it's got a little page on each unit, and it's got all the stats and a little bit about them and their strengths and weaknesses. So that's just a cool little thing, and this is, you know, despite just looking cool, it is actually rather useful, and you can consult that when you're trying to work out, you know, how effective your units are against others, or how effective defense they're going to be against others. It's really cool. So I was happy to play that. I've been playing that a great deal, that one. And I got another Switch game, and that is from Special Reserve Games, and that's Downwell. And Downwell's been around for ages, and yeah, great game. But the reason I wanted this was I've been after a flip grip for ages, and a flip grip was going to cost me probably like $25–30 to get over here from the States. And then this popped up, and this was $25 plus the shipping, so it only worked out like a couple of quid more than the flip grip would have cost me as is. And it's got this really nice sort of presentation case, which, I mean, obviously I can't really describe how it feels like over a video, but it feels like really nice quality. This is published by Devolver, who I'm a huge fan of, being a massive fan of things like Hotline Miami. But yeah, it comes with a game inside, a normal Switch game, physical copy, but it also came with a flip grip. And if you don't know what the flip grip is, I've got it actually attached to my Switch at the moment. So the flip grip, it just, if I can just take it off, so that's what it does. It flips the, you know, the handles round, so you can put your Switch in vertically. So let's see if I can turn this on, if it's got any battery. So I think I've got a time pilot in here at the moment. So let's whack this back in. So yeah, you can see vaguely time pilot running there. So you can play your Tate games, so you can play at vertical screens. So things like Zero Gunner 2 or Time Pilot or whatever I've got downloaded on the Switch, I can play Tate mode. And also obviously Downwell, which the game, which it came with, I can play Tate mode. So that's just really cool. You can get these flip grips, you can see on the back there. I think this one comes with like the red tab is like a specific to this game. I think you get a different colour tab on the normal flip grips, but go and check out the flip grips if you're interested. Or, you know, just go and buy a copy of this from Special Reserve Games to get a flip grip basically free with it. So I'm pretty sure that's it for pickups, guys, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.